I'm Joe Scarupa, Editorial Director of RIS News, and I'm here in the Nerve Center of Retail TechCon 2015. And I'm here speaking today with Chetan Ghai, who is Chief Product Officer of ShopperTrak. And Chetan, we've already had the morning's events here, and we saw a speaker who quoted a so-called expert who said retail is dead or dying or something like that, and I don't think we agree with that, do we?
No, we don't at all. I think we agree that retail is different, but it's certainly not dead. And what we see in terms of looking at in-store traffic and conversions, those sorts of things, is that the consumer is behaving much differently than they have been, but by no means is brick and mortar retail anywhere near dead. As we see in our data as well, most of the shopping, over 90% of the sales, actually occur in physical stores. But the way that they get to those stores has changed dramatically, and it's really about how retailers can understand that so they can better serve the needs of their consumers.
So maybe the old way is dead and or dying, but the new way is emerging and they're not going to go away anywhere soon. Now, some of the other things we've heard today, we've had 3 or 4 good speakers, and I would love to get your impressions of any of the ideas that you heard that were bouncing around that are of interest to you.
Well, I think the changing in the metrics. So one of the speakers talked about how the old way of looking at things is sort of sales per shopper, some of the traditional metrics that we've all seen in retail. A lot of the what he talked about was really a lot of the new metrics that people need to be looking at. So how long are people staying? What are the demographics? How frequently are they coming to your store? Do they walk in, do they walk out? So I think those are some of the new metrics that retailers are going to have to get their arms around in terms of how they measure the effectiveness of their stores.
I understand this is the first time you've been to Retail TechCon, and I'd love to get your impression of it because I know there's a lot of conferences in retail, and you probably go to a lot of conferences. So far from what you can tell, what are your thoughts about Retail TechCon?
Well, what I really like is the fact that there's a lot of retailers here, particularly those that are looking at technology. So a number of conferences we go to, we don't see a really good mix of retailers. We see a lot of vendors. What we see at this particular conference is a lot of retailers who are here trying to investigate what they should put on their technology roadmap. So it gives us a lot of chance to have some intimate settings with those retailers at tables, at breakfast, at lunches, at some of the networking events. So that's a really great way for us to get feedback as to whether or not we're headed in the right direction.
Well, really pleasure having you here today, Retail TechCon. I hope you come back again next year. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks a lot, Joe, and I will be back for sure.